Greetings, star seeds, light workers, healers, seers, readers, dreamers, cheaters, non-believers, overachievers, and any in-betweeners catching the fever. Welcome back to Shamanic Awakening, brought to you in part by beautiful people like AssualtRifleOmen, Jesoteric, and the Lick Tribe. If this is your first time, allow me to introduce myself. The name is Chief Moquiuix, and I will be your companion, your shaman, your guide as we channel the divine. Thank you all for sharing your space, energy, and your time and allowing me to share mine. What we do here is sing, dance, laugh, cry, fart, stink, make books, talk to people that write books, and channel messages for the collective. So if it resonates with you, my friend, you know what to do. Jump in the chat, get in this convo with us, like, share, subscribe, and don't fight the vibe if it feels right. Ain't that right, Assault Rifle? Welcome in, my beautiful friend. How are you? Welcome in.
How's it going?
Good to meet you. Good to finally do this with you, my friend. It's so amazing. How are you?
Yes. Thanks for having me here. I'm doing excellent, man. I'm enjoying the time, and it is excellent times.
Dope.
Thanks for having me on the show, by the way.
No worries. Thanks for coming on the show, bro. And thanks for finding me that one night. Remember, I was in San Diego and you found me and I was like, I checked you out because right away I saw that you were on and I was like, let me, like I always like showing support and you just blew my mind, bro. I was like, yo, this guy's cool. I called everybody. I was like, get him over here. He's just like me. We're the same. Like, right?
Oh, that's great to hear. Like, honestly though, like I popped into your stream and I was like, yeah, this guy's a cool dude. It's rare when you find genuine people, like, and I seen that right away. The genuinity of just of your personality and
the authenticity.
Likewise. Yeah, the
authenticity
and like I said, like you were following your heart with a lot of the readings and just the vibe. So I knew you were a good soul, and good person, man. Good energy, and likewise. Yeah, so like you said, the vibe was just it was good. It was a good.
That's what's up, man.
So now it's good to be here and good to know you. And hello to everyone out there. Thanks for tuning in and watching us on this platform and tuning into the episode, and those in the future tuning in, thanks for watching.
Love it, bro. Love it. Love the energy. What's it called? How's everyone doing out there in the chat, guys? We see you, Apoluna, Jesoteric, Vengeful Shaman. We see you out there. Thank you all for being here, beautiful souls. What you working on? Well, first of all, let me ask you this, Assault Rifle Omen, what do you do on Twitch?
All right, so the Twitch, it started off as a gaming platform. I just used to play a lot of video games on it and chill out with my friends in that way, and then it was more like just connecting with friends all over and playing on the stream together, right? And then it became a painting stream, an artist kind of stream, and music stream, and then now it's kind of like it's tailed off into card reading, and I've been doing card readings for many years now, and it's been a part of my spirituality and my journey in life, and so like to share that on stream was next level, because it really did bring a lot of new folks that I got to meet and new friends, and on the like-minded same level, like you mentioned before, and so it was a blessing in itself, right? And doing that, and just not listening to any of the doubts or any of that, and just going for it and having fun with it. And that's really what it was about, like, for doing the card reading stream and being that kind of a voice on Twitch, right? So
yeah, that's dope, man.
It's been a pleasure.
So it's evolved, right? Like it started out one thing and then evolved into something else, and now we're here today sharing this conversation. That's dope.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And I work on many projects. I do, like, I wear many hats, so like I'm kind of like
love it.
I have my hands into like art and music and writing and a little bit of acting here and there when I can, and and I do a bit of podcasting and the Twitch streaming, right? So it's like it's a little bit of mixture of all my time into all these facets of my current reality.
I love it, dude. I love it. You're embodying your essence self, my friend. You're a perfect prime example of somebody who's embodying yourself fully. I love it. You all your emotes are going across the screen right now. Those are all of Assault Rifle's emotes. He made them by hand, you know, and from the heart. And I love to share people's art, man. Look at, he's got merch, y'all. He's got pens, mugs, books. Let's go,
Books,
bro.
T-shirts, everything, man. Like I kind of just, like I said, just I created a lot of stuff for the books because I enjoyed the what they've become, right? And I feel like if they're that good, then they deserve some merch that goes along with them. So
Heck yeah,
I kind
dude.
of,
Love
yeah,
it.
or even if it's something that I can enjoy, right? And you know, so I'll bring that to into the world, right? And
Yeah.
enjoy that.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
do you want to tell us some more about your books? Like, what are they about? And well, first let's start with that. Like, what are your books about? What are your series
Okay.
novels about?
All right. So I predominantly write a lot of, I write sci-fi and a lot of sci-fi, and I write a little bit of fantasy here and there. But online, it was kind of like a mixture of just taking a stab at just the writing in general. That's like where I just kind of like where I started to release like stories, short stories, chapters, and just seeing what people liked out there, what worked, what didn't work. I kind of had to allow myself to write the bad books in order to write the good books,
Right.
right? And
Trial and error kind of
so
thing.
like yeah. So following like what worked and what didn't work, and how I can improve things, and that's just been kind of like like the story of like how I've been progressing with the writing. But as for the books that I've released that I felt were good enough to release into the world for people to enjoy for years to come,
Mm-hmm.
was Fort Sunder was a great book. It was a world that I was developing. I made maps. I made like languages. I
That's
made like
so
tons of
dope.
like characters, and like the art that it just that came from that world was just endless. Like I had cities and towers and like just like creatures and wars and all these like
That's
there's this
so
book
dope.
like no notebooks just filled with this magical art that I just like, even just shops filled with like magic clothes and like or restaurants that are just like from this fantasy world, like that are just
Yeah. It's like
like art, yeah, just like
it's like we were saying before we started, right? It's like an alternate reality, and and sometimes it can seem like if it's memories, right? Like it's just memories because of how clear you see. Like I was gonna ask the next question, follow up question, like what inspires you to write these kinds of novels?
well I always had this very intuitive creative um, mindset, and like to do these stories and write my own like I should say my own tales was was like a very interesting and very enjoyable process that I learned to really love and take upon, and
And master.
yeah, like I said, it was a very fulfilling experience for myself, like in terms of just like creating a world and really seeing that development. But as for like there's one there that I did was Palladian guidance, and that one is really filled with a lot of like starseed knowledge and a lot of like I should say experience kind of content that I've experienced out there with the extraterrestrials and different beings, like especially with the Pleiadians and Andromedans, and so like in that book with like the another experiencer of such the galactic force of light, and Federation of Light Worlds, if they're that, those people that have experienced it, reading my book, they'll definitely see some of the ships in there and some of like the art, and like through the art, like they'll see a lot of the like just even people that read it will see a lot of the uh, I should say the visions and the things that
Mm-hmm.
I've seen and
The imagery.
experiences that I've had, and yeah, the imagery, and we'll see like you'll see the cities and like there's like a lot of mothership city pictures in there, and other extraterrestrial beings, and a lot of it you see this like a lot of it is too is it shows like how similar they are like in a sense to us. And what a big point that is for us to realize is like once we're out there, we're just as alien to them as they are to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Totally.
So when you read
who's the
Pleiadian Guide,
alien, right? Like,
yeah. So it's all like we're just all the beings in this universe together, and so when you read that book and you see a lot of these like the depictions of the different extraterrestrials and the buildings and the styles of the ships and stuff, you read about it and you kind of get a little bit of knowledge in galactic history and kind of understand that a lot of races had to kind of go through similar paths that the current human race is on,
right.
and just like how they're allowing us to grow and experience that for ourselves, and how we deal with it and how we overcome that will be honestly the factor that makes it all, right? Like whether or not we get out there and get to be a part of the life force worlds and
right.
Yeah. So
the Galactic Federation.
At the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's kind of like there's a lot of that being foretold in that book as well, and it talks a lot about their technology, and
I'm posting a link in the chat right now to Assault Rifle's book for anyone that wants to books I should say with an S, that wants to check that out. I'm gonna pin it up in the chat so you guys can do that. Or can someone pin that for me? It's giving me problems. Sorry guys. Thank you guys. Thank you, Captain Universe, for being here with us. I was going to say
Fort Sunder.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So Fort Sunder, the fantasy world, that book itself was just, like I said, it is what it is, and there's just tons of war in there. It's about a guy, a guard. It follows from his point of view where he's just trying to save his town from the evil that has awakened in the Frosty Mountains. So like there's this huge undead army that's amassing in the darkness of the mountains, and so all these towns and villages come together to create a fort at the base of the mountains to kind of hold off the dark army from the rest of the realm. So it's like all this like collaboration of good that comes together to fight the evil of the realm, right? And like so it's like called Fort Sunder because it's a beautiful book. It's a constant war. It's a very metal book, very descriptive. You take your time with it. That's all I suggest is take your time and just allow it to soak in. Because even my cousin was like, I was reading it there, and I couldn't really just skim through it. I had to kind of like pay attention to what I was reading, like every sentence, because like every page there's like a lot going on, and I'm like, that's Fort Sunder for you. And it's even like the book itself is I'll show you the book itself right now. So like, it's a very like, it's a big book.
Okay.
Like it stands off the table. It's like 8.5 by 11. So it's like a whole, like the size of a page.
Yeah.
And it,
that's amazing,
tons of content
dude.
in there.
I can't wait to read it myself.
And then this is Pleiadian Guidance.
That's the one that I
color version. Yeah. So the whole the difference is like the cheaper version, the black and white version. You get all the images, but they're just non-colored. And the reason why the other one's a little bit more expensive is just because you're paying for premium color, premium paper, and premium quality, book design. So you're getting like the whole and you're getting like full-on colored images and like
Gotcha.
So you get to see a lot of like
goodness. That's one of your emotes, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. One of them is the emotes there, so you do see that stuff, and so like ship like pictures of the ships and like so like you get like a lot of these
cool,
like
man. You inspire me, bro,
like,
to
cool
pick
things.
up a paintbrush and a canvas, dude. Like for real, you've been inspiring me to do that lately.
Yeah. Yes, and like the whole inspiration, like I get that a lot, and like I think people should follow their like their creative interests and that positive drive, productive drive, where it's like you're even like if you're building things or even constructing,
just creating, right?
Creating things and like exactly, music and all that kind of good stuff, right? It's really a positive force that brings in that higher vibrational frequency, and that's where you start to lock in those modes of like next thing 4 hours went by just because you're doing something you enjoyed, right?
Right. So, yep. That's like when people say that good time flies when you're having fun. That's because it's true, right? Like time doesn't exist when you're having fun, basically, right? It's all happening.
You're in the moment. Mm-hmm. You're in the moment, right? So time is just whatever in the moment.
So I just kind of want to like touch a few points here, since this is kind of like a themed podcast, and I've been asking everyone these questions and just getting everyone's different perspectives on them. What is the dark night of the soul, and what does this term mean to you, the dark night of the soul? Like when I first asked you that, what came to mind?
Well, when you first asked that, I thought it had something to do with the recent eclipse. So in my mind, I thought you meant like the death of the self and the rebirth into the new light, and that's what I thought you were getting at, like the
Dude, that
the
totally
dark night of the
knocks, like,
soul.
that totally hits the nail on the head, like that is pretty
Yeah.
much right. But more of like what I have in mind is like not necessarily one night, but like a period of time in someone's life. But when
Yeah.
you, go ahead,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, and then you're making that point, and I was like, oh okay, yeah, like someone's a dark moment in time for them, and how they persevered through with spirit in that sense, with the light,
Exactly.
is what you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then for me, what struck me in that moment was I had a lot of lot of astral missions that I had to do over time, and before I could go on those like kind of like really intense like higher energy I should say missions, and because like before that I was just kind of like exploring and kind of getting to know things and seeing things, and understanding what was out there in the world, and just trusting my intuition on what was, what I was seeing and visioning, and
Totally.
but what ended up happening was I understand I well from what I understood was as you're traveling with your light self, that there's actually a time when you will encounter your dark astral self, which is like your pain body,
Right.
which is all the trauma and everything that's ever accumulated in your life, even past lives. You know what I mean? Like this
Mm-hmm.
is like the like the ultimate evil version of you, because you're the
Right.
ultimate light of yourself. Well, you're embodying that, right?
Right.
Um, so in this reality, this being tries to come and mess with you eventually, right? So you have to prepare for yourself for that moment if you're doing these astral travels and spiritual practices in life.
Right.
And so I always had that in the, like, not always had it in the back of my mind, but I knew it was one day it was going to be a thing, right?
You're
Like,
aware of
so
it.
yeah, I was aware of it. Like I didn't just think constantly like, oh, this is
Right.
coming for me or
Right.
anything.
Right.
No,
Right. Right.
no, but
No.
like it was there. Like I knew, like I had the knowledge of it. So
Exactly.
I was, and it happened when I wasn't expecting it either. Like I was not expecting it. Like it was like
That's
it was
usually
like
when
a
it.
yeah, when it comes at you, right? Yeah, usually when it comes at you. But so it was like a year and a half after my uncle passed away,
Okay.
and my uncle was a very big teacher in my life. He taught me a lot of these spiritual things and how to like deal with spiritual attachments in houses, and like so like how to do like kind of native style exorcisms in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
so like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
healing people and taking
Right.
out entities and
Shamanism.
getting rid of them, and yeah, and like and protecting lands and things like that. And I learned a lot of like spiritual ways off of him from our teachings handed down from, well, the ancestors and
Right.
my great grandfathers and stuff like
Right.
that. And
Your cultural.
and
Um.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, the cultural practice, spiritual
Mhm.
practices of the Neo and Neowak. And so what ended up happening was uh, I was expecting him to like start visiting me in dreams, and like coming forward with some information from the spiritual world, and like if he had any guidance or things like that for me, right? So,
Mhm.
and it wasn't uncommon that I would have like some like because I was having nightmares in those years. Like it was very dark time, so I was having a lot of nightmares, and some of these nightmares I was unable to escape. And then there would be those moments where I wouldn't see him, but I'd hear his voice, and he'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna hold it off. You can get out of here." And then I'd be like, "Okay," and I'd be able to actually jump and break through the window of this house. That every time I jump out of that window, I'd just be at the basement again of it. Like, it
Oh
was just like
wow.
a
Yeah.
like I was like caught in a dream world or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then so he actually saved me from that, and
Wow.
so like it wasn't uncommon. So I was like expecting him like to be that guy, to like a guide to come through and
Right. From the other
pass forward
side.
information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one night I was having this like very vivid dream, and it was like I was outside his house, and there was a sweat lodge set up there, and I seen the buffalo skull and all the smudge on top of it lit up, and it was like a bright day, and inside I could see like the sweat lodge door open. So I was like, oh, this is it. This is where I'm gonna get the knowledge. This is where it's gonna come to me, you know.
Yeah.
And so I walked in. I walked in there, and then as soon as I walked in and sat down, that lodge just shut, that door just on its own just shut, and then it was just the darkness right in there, and I could just like I knew it was my dark self right in there, and I was like, oh, I knew you were gonna come eventually,
So this day has come, right?
Yeah, and like I was like, and he was like, he's like, now you're stuck here, I got you, now I'm gonna crush your entity, like you know what I mean, and
That's
and I'm like,
intense.
no, you're not gonna crush my life force. Like I said right to him, like, you know, and this is, you know, so I started focusing my energy, and I didn't allow that darkness to break me, in that world. So what I did was I created this light orb, this centered out, and it just kept getting bigger and larger to the point where it started like breaking that black orb that it had me
Yeah,
captured
that
in my
you.
dream world, right? And
Whoa.
so when I broke it, and when I broke it, I was standing out front of that same sweat lodge. It was still there, but he was standing outside and kind of scrumbling on the ground there, and the ground cracked like an earthquake, and he went in there, and then I was like
Ooh.
gonna chase him in,
Yeah.
and then that's when I felt my uncle like put his hand on my shoulder. I didn't see him though. I didn't turn back and see him, but I heard him say, "It's okay. He's gone now. You did good. He'll never bother you again," kind of deal. And I was like,
Wow.
whoa. And I woke up and I knew that was him, and that was that
That.
moment in time. And
Mm-hmm. You successfully
yeah.
overcame that dark night of the soul with your light by
Hmm.
embodying your light body.
Yeah, and had to use the power of that astral world, because like that's what I started learning about. Like you could control like the energy and power in the astral world, and you can create these orbs and defeat darkness with them. And
Love it, bro. Love it, dude. Thank you for sharing that story. And uh, I don't want to say I'm sorry about your uncle, because I know that your uncle is on a much higher plane and able to do much more on the other side and still with you right here, right now.
oh yeah,
How many times in life do you think you've experienced this?
like if a dark, like if I know like if everything's going really good in life, like and like there's nothing to like there shouldn't be any complaints or anything about anything going on, but all of a sudden there's just this like cloud, or like a blanket of sadness
Unseen
that just kind of
force.
yeah, looms around. I know, like that's when I start to just reinforce in my head, like I'm all right,
Right,
everything's all right, you know,
right,
look at this, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful
right.
for what I
Gratitude.
live, and how I do things, and you know what I mean. I
Hmm.
start just looking around and appreciating everything that is right. And usually that those things go away, those entities that try to just attach on to
Totally.
people who are just on a lighter level or brighter higher
Right.
frequency level, right? And then but when I notice that, that's when I go into my astral world, and I start to like I take care
Do
of
work.
whatever's around. Or yeah, or even if like say through my daily walk, like say I'm like just going through the days, and I see things like you know, like entities that are like lurking around folks and things like that. I'll just like, you know, I'll make sure to just keep my my energy up, and you know, block out any of those, like those negative attachments that are on others and stuff. And it's very important that like people you only remove things that are like you know, if people ask you to, right? Like don't
Yeah.
just go and involve yourself with
Right.
others all the time, right? Because
Metal.
like, you know, it's very important that it's upon the person to ask for that, right? Like,
Totally.
you know. And yeah, but the people I do that do ask me to help them and stuff like that, I do take you know, like take it very seriously. and
For sure.
and you know,
So
you know.
yeah. So what I'm
Go ahead.
getting from this is that you don't take on these dark nights of the souls that are not yours. You had yours, and you successfully, traversed it, and so you left that there, and now you just fully embody your essence self, like your light body. I feel like
Yeah.
So this is not something you go
Yeah.
through often. You went through it and that's it, right?
It's like yeah, that's it, and that was it. Like that, like I've dealt with it, but the one thing I always do is I always keep I always keep connected, like, and I
Yeah.
always keep connected to spirit and source,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, with my ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
and I always keep connected with that light, right? And that's very, very much important to me in this life. And
Absolutely.
as like I said, like I'm just, that was just like a precautionary. I was just saying for others that are out there and doing that kind of work,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just
and
I get it. Thank you for sharing that for sure. It is a very
and I've done
tricky.
Oh, I've done work with others like very talented astral travelers, and we've did like planetary work together. Like there was like 48 of us one time, all linked together, that were all doing stuff for the Earth's grid at one point and saving the dimensional fracture that was happening like a year
Wow.
and a half ago. And ever since we did that, like a lot of the DNA codes and like energetic light codes been
Yeah.
returning to people. Like, so they've been having like past memories of like Atlantis and all these mystical
Dude,
places like
yes.
Lemuria and things. And but you know, like for that's a very different thing. Like when we do those kind of things, it's like we ask the Earth Spirit itself, like, where do you need help? Where do you want us to look at? And a lot of times we'll be taken to these dimensional bases that have been just like rifted into our existence, that exist over cities, like the spirit of a city. Like if you go into the dimension of the spirit realm, there will be a giant dark base, like where a mall exists, or you know what I mean, like these high
Wow.
like energetic places where all the humans
Like
gather, and
dense, yeah, like
it's
dense
kind of
energy,
interesting.
kind of.
Yeah, yeah, and so we'll go there and just destroy it, like and just take it out and clear out all these beings in there and save a lot of like human trapped souls in them.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where it gets like and that's the earth like spirit guiding us to these things. And
That's like the
so like
crystalline
there's
grid, right? Like the energetic
yeah,
field that connects us all, right? The universal
yeah,
energetic field. That's dope, bro.
yeah,
That's hella dope.
yeah,
So like I said,
yeah.
so
So
you
like
it's like work to you basically at this point. Now you know how to successfully traverse in that dimension, so you don't put yourself through these dark nights of the soul anymore. You just shine your light for others to get through theirs, it seems.
there that's it. And also to experience life itself in the universe,
Totally.
and make that connection, you know. And a lot of times lately, it's just been me hanging out on a Pleiadian Andromedan ship and kind of just getting these, you know, visions and seeing these interactions and things taking place. And yeah, it's been kind of calm. Like it hasn't been too much battles or anything as of lately. Ever since we did the restructuring of well, and of the dimensional fracture that was happening, and
That's
it was like that, you know. So
so
yeah, it
interesting,
was
bro.
yeah, it was very,
Love
and
it.
we had like when we did it, we had to be very like cautious of our warp travel because where we went was very like we had to go through like with our spirit body, right, and the light body. So when we created our dimensional barriers, we had to use a lot of protection of light guardians and to go through, because if we didn't, then a lot of like dark dimensional energy could have attached to us during the
Right.
travel. And that's a lot of things that science doesn't consider with their technology. They just leave it open. So like their open AI, sentient AIs will just get affected and corrupted in such ways, right? Because they don't have no
Interesting.
spiritual protection or
Right.
connection.
Right, dude. That makes a lot of sense, bro. That's you just made a lot of things click in my mind.
I'm happy to do that.
Nobody's ever said it like that before. Um so let's talk a little bit about this latest book that you're working on, if you don't mind. I think you were sketching some scenes out, and also I was going to ask if you could kind of like tell us a little bit about your ancestry. I find that fascinating.
All right, sure. Yeah. Well, for starters, the Mars Bug War series I've been working on, and it's been kind of like I always wanted, like I've always been inspired by sci-fi novels, and especially like military kind of sci-fi genres, and Starship Troopers, and like Warhammer 40K and stuff like that. But I wanted to just create a very like like just like a personal like a creation of this similar world, and but it was more or less like poking at the idea of Earth's galactic force, and like uniting together under this democratic rule that was going to go and fight the bugs on Mars, and all these genetically trained super soldiers, I should say, are fighting these bugs on Mars and clearing these outposts and setting them up. And it's just like kind of like a high impact, action packed novel that's just filled with
sounds
like,
amazing, dude.
Yeah, and the best part is like I got to write a book like featuring all my friends and people that I know, and so like so it's kind of cool that I got to write like a really cool book about all of us just fighting the bugs on Mars, and and
that's so cool, man.
And so like I've written 2 books. They're both available on Amazon: The Mars Bug Wars, and then The Mars Bug Wars: The Forgotten Ones, which is even more chaotic than the first one. And it's so much more action packed, and filled with so much more adrenaline ride, and like and so like currently I'm working on a 3rd book for it, right?
Okay.
And
that's the one, yeah.
And and this one dives more deeper into like the background of society of of the Earth and megacity, and kind of talking about the like how Earth's in the last Great War they went to war with each other because there's one society that wanted to advance through AI and artificial intelligence, and then and so they're creating a lot of robots to like take over a lot of human tasks and stuff. And then there was a lot of there was another society that wanted to create and bioengineer superhumans through like manipulating genetic code with animals on Earth. So all these so there's one society that was like superhumans through manipulated genetics, and then there was one side that was like through AI superiority kind of deal. And so like one was about true freedom and liberty with the human ingenuity and perseverance and excellence, and the other one's about like it's like kind of like against liberty with the with artificial intelligence and bringing forward like like these bots to take over human tasks and putting them forward. So there was a huge war that broke out, and eventually it came down to a peace. And so they created a peace unity mission that's why all these people are on Mars. So they're like, it was kind of like the Mars Bug Wars is actually essentially like a peace mission to bring together the world. And like it's on. So it kind of explains a little bit about that.
Like for the greater good, there's a bigger force out there that is a threat, basically.
Yeah, and they just so they utilize that mission to kind of bring the world together and send these guys out to Mars. And that's kind of like where it leads our main character, War Chief T, who's leading the Dark Squad. But in the book, they are renamed Death Squad due to past circumstances in book 1. So you guys will enjoy that if you do pick it up and start to enjoy the series. And I've been currently working on a comic book for it. So I'll just show a little bit of that right now. So I'm working on like a little mini comic flash graphic novel or whatever you want to call it.
That's so cool, man.
It's just so people have that more imagery of of the world and the sense of the Mars Bug Wars, right? Series. So
I was gonna say,
I've been keeping very busy with it.
That's what's up, dude. I love it. Every time I tune into you, you're working on something, man. I love that. That's great. It's great vibes, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick myself up a copy. I might have you to mail it to you though, so you can sign it though.
Or just PayPal me the cash, and I'll
there you go.
I'll send you it.
Boom! Sign, you guys heard it. You want an autographed version of the book? Direct PayPal. I got you, bro. Definitely.
You'd be like my fifth signed book I've I've mailed across out there across
Hell
seas.
yeah.
So
That's what's up.
yeah. There's been a few. There's been a
All
few people to
right.
buy it and checking
Let's
it out. So
go. Hell
it's getting love
yeah.
around the world.
Love it, dude. Love it. That's what I love about Twitch, man. We're connecting all over the world right now, bro. I'm over here in the Netherlands. I don't even know how the hell I ended up out here. I'm just kidding. But here we are, man, and Twitch connected us with the platform. So I'm thankful for Twitch for that. Um, what I was gonna say, dang, oh yeah, I was gonna say. So when you get inspired for the imagery, right? Like we were kind of talking about it before we went on air about how like when you're writing, you're seeing these things too, and sometimes it can seem like you're recalling memories, right? Like you're just explaining what you saw in a past instance, right?
Yeah.
Like where do you go when you want to start writing?
That's definitely that's part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's definitely a lot of it there. Uh, but like for the process itself it's just kind of unexplainable because like all of a sudden these it's just like I'm seeing it's like a movie, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing these these images and this world happening and these characters all taking place like for example like the lands of Nia, like in the Fort Sunder book, the actual like the place, the lands of Nia, and the lands of Zuna, all those places, like they all have their things going on, and I could just see like month, like day to day, like weekly events, and all these like different things
Yeah.
happening, like so like that whole world is in itself like is just filled with endless tales. Like I can sit there and see these things going on and
All
taking
right.
place, and same thing with like the Mars bug wars. It's very strange, but it's like a lot of these like I swear, like it's like this world, this creative world, and this energy that it is. It's like you said, this reality that's existing out there, and it's like
An
it's tuning
alternate.
into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just like flowing
You
through,
just
and
tap into it
I,
basically, right? I feel like.
yeah, and I try to do my best to tell that tale, or do my best to translate it, I should
Mhm.
say, in for us to all enjoy.
That's dope, man. I
um,
love that. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, in the Mars Bug Wars, the Forgotten Ones, I put in the author's note. It was like a little prayer, like a little giving thanks. I'm so thankful for this blessing of a book to like that I was able to write and tell this tale, and for the energy that it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like I actually do acknowledge that in the book. So uh like I do understand that we're, the reality of it, right? And a lot of these things too, with the paintings and the spirituality that pours on through art, and uh, even when doing like a lot of the like traditional paintings and legends, you can like there's this energy that just kind of comes through that is meant to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Totally.
painting, and it's like seeing light,
Mm-hmm.
and following
So
that light.
so basically like you allow these images and these stories to come to you naturally. You don't try and force it, or you just let it
No,
naturally tap into it
yeah,
when needed, when necessary,
yeah.
or yeah, I got you. That's what's up, dude.
And like it's like it takes some days, like I'll sit there and like you said, sitting here, and I'll just sit here and like allow myself just to relax into that moment, and then I don't know, like I said, it just happens, it comes through, and like and these characters and these places, and the only thing that I do is like I'll inject like my character, like if I make a character like in it for the story, right? And but like what I'm seeing is the scenes going on, and like all the whole like the area, this the style of buildings and everything is like is happening there, and like the whole like that whole essence of the world is really captured in that
Yeah.
in that sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You
Yeah.
said, yeah, you described the imagery is transferred over
Yeah.
through the story.
And and like there's like it's kind of funny because like when I originally wrote the Mars Bug Wars, I wrote it in 2021, and it was just kind of like it was a different story. It was a different kind of there was a different kind of vibe to it, and but like everything, like I didn't change too much, but like a lot of the things that were in there that I wrote uh were were very similar to this game that came out, and it was called Helldivers 2. And it's kind of funny because I never knew about Helldivers 2 until
Interesting.
like it came out recently.
Yeah.
But if you go look in the original script, like you know, I had all these things like the original like Mars Bug Wars. There's a lot of Tesla technology in there, so a lot of like electricity weapons,
Yeah.
Tesla tanks, and
Yeah.
Tesla electric
Wow,
field
the
rods that were and
synchronicities.
and yeah, and like Helldivers 2 just came out like a month or two ago, and they had Tesla Tower like protection, like defense systems. They had oh yeah, and that was another thing. I named my pilot in the original Mars Bug Wars. I named her Eagle One, and that's actually what they make the call sign in Helldivers 2. They named it Eagle One. So like all these this,
Wow.
so
So
I'm
like,
thinking like whoever
yeah.
was so whoever was like creating oh yeah, and also too in the original Mars Bug Wars, they do drop down in drop pods from from this orbital space stations like that are in space, and that's how they do it on Helldivers. They drop down in drop pods
What?
and call all their bases and weapons from drop pods and everything. And I'm like, this is in my book, like you know what I
Right.
mean?
Like,
Like
dude, you totally
this is
recalled this and sold it to somebody else. Right?
like and yeah, so I was like so like whatever so like this reality that I was like tuning into and stuff like that, there was this, you know, a similar person on that same electricity field level that was able to connect with it and see this, like see similar technologies and these marines fighting bugs and in the galactics, and you know what I mean, like
So
it's
cool, bro.
so like
Yeah.
so it just gave me that like more confirmation to like
Confirmation.
this reality that exists in this other dimension that we're all kind of like picking from, you know, whether it's Starship Troopers, whether it's Helldivers 2, whether it's Warhammer 40K, whether it's the Mars Bug Wars, whatever, right? Like whether it's StarCraft, whatever, right? Like it's
Yeah.
all like it seems like we're all like picking up out of this
Similar.
dimensional reality. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we're all seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's so dope, bro. That is so dope. What are some symptoms that you have encountered when, I would say, after having that experience where you embodied your light essence fully? So like, it could be, for example, like when I started to realize things and see things for what they were, it was hard to sleep, it was hard to eat sometimes, you know, for until I kind of like got a grasp on things and saw the forest for the trees. So like any physical symptoms, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Oh yeah, yeah. There'd be interesting nights. I'd stay up and, you know, I'd be looking at the stars and watching the UFOs going by and connecting with them. Uh, you know, I like you said, restless nights, and but like the times when I do sleep and stuff like that, like I'm no longer having nightmares or anything like that. It's like I'm like right out, like as soon like right out, and I wake up again. But like when I go for my visions and stuff like that, it's totally conscious and connected with within the realms of the universe and getting those visions through, right? But as for my diet changed in a lot of ways. Um, there's a lot of things that I used to eat that I don't eat anymore that were just, I guess, unnecessary for me.
Mm-hmm.
uh, but like on the contrary, it's been better for me. So like you know, this
Totally.
lighter, you know, the awakening or the changes that have been happening have been necessary, and
Totally.
a lot of visions and connections with you know different beings and like of the light force, I should say, and then also to getting you know, if I have to deal with any of the negatives and stuff like that too, is like I'll be getting more of like a heightened sense of all this, like energy field wise, and sensing of these things, and you know
So like
dealing with them, or
heightened
yeah,
senses.
or like yeah, even like for the reality, like like if there's like a really heightened reality, I could tell like, oh, okay, there's going to be a restless amongst everyone like that that's not paying attention. You know what I mean? All the people that are closed minded to it, but they'll still be affected by it. You get what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
like you'll be dealing with a lot of people that are very aggravated or very you know what I mean? Like, you know, if the energy is like real high and they're not tuning it in properly, right? So
Mm-hmm.
as a as a person that sees this thing and is tuning into it properly and doing this, I should say spiritual walk, I'll sense that, and I could tell when people are, like when the energies are going to be a little off, and so like I try to take a little bit more patience in dealing with others and uh, and just a reality, right? Like being a little bit more patient even with myself, just because of that
Yeah.
heightened energy and like the changes and the restlessness that comes with such.
Mm-hmm. Having like compassion for the self, and then it as a byproduct, you have much more compassion for others.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotcha.
and growing like a what do you call that? Almost like building up like a fortitude and kind of like just understanding, I guess. Yeah, fortitude and understanding of just life in general and
Totally. The
respect, I guess.
experience is necessary, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Experience is the best teacher, in my opinion. You know. So
For sure.
I wanted to ask you one more question, and then let you kind of say anything you wanted to say. But the last question is, how do you self care? Being a streamer, writer, you might have another job too that you do. You're a busy guy. I see you. You when you stream, I'm like, oh, he's streaming. I gotta like just jump on because I don't know when you're gonna stream next. But you stream consistently. So how do you self care?
I I tend to do the things that I enjoy. So and if I feel like I'm getting like overloaded by by work or like say like just the heavy work schedule or just projects in general, I'll tend to take like a little mini break from things and then go
Okay.
back to back to what I do, right? But
Hmm.
a- as for right now, I've been just like straight up enjoying what I do for in terms of creating these books and how I've been going with just with work in general. Like I'm not too like I'm pretty satisfied with everything with
Yeah,
in terms of that.
I love it,
So
man.
it's been good, right?
Yeah,
So
I love it. So basically, self care to you is just enjoying what you do. Like you said,
yeah,
it's super simple. I
yeah,
love it. I love it, dude. That's how I feel actually. Very, very much. Like it's not work to me, even though it is work though. Like sometimes I'm like, right? Something's not going right. I gotta fix it, whatever. But it doesn't seem like work because we're just doing what we enjoy doing, man. Like that's a big part. I feel like a big thing I'm trying to hit home with people is to follow their soul's joy because that will bring you inner peace, and then you, in turn, as a byproduct, ripple that out into the collective, and we all can be there. You know what I mean? Do you have any advice for anyone just starting their journey? Or any questions for me or chat? Or all three you can
uh,
have?
yeah, yeah, like follow that the good vibration, like if it feels right, when it comes to spirituality, and take what's necessary and what works in for you at the time. uh don't be so hard on yourself with the universe. uh and follow that passion and follow your heart and do what you love to do. And like my buddy Felty said, remain dauntless. Yeah, remain dauntless, and perseverance, and keep that perseverance, and achieve what you can, and enjoy what you do, and be happy with the achievements. And
Love it.
so
Love it. Thank you for that. Appreciate those
yeah, if
words.
there's any there was one question I didn't answer in your list of questions there, and it was talking a little bit about my family and where my background comes from. So,
Yeah.
uh, I'm from northern Canada. My people are the Neo and Neowuk, but society calls us the Cree people. We never called ourselves that. I still don't know what Cree means. Like the Cree, like, sure, it may be what like Neo and Neowuk, but like actually like what it could have meant in the time when they named us that. Like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't too nice of times when they gave us that name.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, I'm not sure what it could mean to them, but we are the Neo and Neowuk. Neo is the number 4 in our language, and Neowuk is the people of 4 directions. Like so.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so like we believe in the 4 directions of the universe, and that's our spiritual belief and the circle of life, right? So we we tend to gravitate with all the with the guardians and the elements
The
and the animal
elements, yeah.
spirits, and yeah, and that's like in the star spirits and ultra terrestrials and the star nation. That's where our beliefs like really our
Okay.
connections are really held. We hold that really in high regard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So um
That's awesome.
as as for my family, my great grandfather Headman Mustis has signed the treaty in 1899, and that was June 21st, and that centennial is coming up here, 150 years of that treaty, and
In a couple
so I'm going to be
months?
there with my yeah in a couple
Wow.
months here, so I'm going to be there celebrating that and
That's awesome.
bringing all my books and things and
Yeah, yeah,
goods
yeah,
there for
yeah.
event. Yeah.
That's
So I'll be
amazing,
selling
dude. I'm
paintings
happy for you, man. That's,
and
what a time.
so yeah, and so like I said, he signed the Treaty 7. So it's like or sorry, Treaty 7. He was there for signing of Treaty 7, but he signed Treaty 8, and so like and he was there with his brother. There was like 6 other signers, but he was one of the signers there, and that treaty is the main reason why we even have like towns or society out here or cities, and the railroad that ran through Canada, right? So it's like it's a pretty big thing,
Wow, that
and
is big, man.
yeah. So and like he was a very spiritual man, very powerful man in that sense, and like we never had chiefs. We never had chiefs. That's kind of a made up stereotype like I should say Hollywood made for us.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because when the original like generals or commanders would come to our people, they'd be like, we want to speak to your leader, your chief. Who's your chief? But we never had a chief. So like
Yeah.
at the time, people would just bring up the most
Th-
spiritual person that they could find. So they'd have these headmen. They were called headmen,
okay.
and
Headman.
they were like the shamans, what
Okay.
you would refer to,
Mhm.
and so like my great grandfather was one of them, right? So like
Wow.
before they so he did a lot of ceremonies before they signed these treaties and how to go about them, and like seeing into the future, how long these treaties would last and everything. So like there's all these like predictions for the world that I'm still holding on to, right? That I'm still like seeing that are coming to reality, like
Wow.
as I'm one of these generations, right?
Right. Through
And
your ancestry.
yeah, and so like a lot of people like after like a lot of it like towards the end, and like the end of I should say when Canada started to form, and like a lot of native people and treaties like were being broken, and a lot of native people were being taken from like kids were being taken from home and put into these residential schools to reform them and kill the native inside of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
My great grandfather my great grandfather James had my grandfather James had ran away from the residential school at a very young age, but he learned from the woods, right? So he was able to track his way back to the trap line, and with my great great grandfather Headman Mustis, and actually learn the ways and bring that back to us, right? Because then when they came the
Wow.
next year, like they came the next year looking for him, like the police and military, well, like I should say the Mountie police came looking for him, like they're like, where is he? We're taking him. And my great great grandfather was just happened to be there at the house, and with his dad Alexander, right? And he's like, I didn't sign the treaties for these kids to be taken and treated this way. Like we were supposed to be on equal ground and all this stuff, right? And you will not take my grandson. I'm going to raise him myself.
Wow.
And literally, like they were at like a gun standing off like point, and then the Mounties are like, okay, we're like, we can't. He signed the treaty and all this stuff, and so he let my grandfather stay with my great great grandfather, right? And so those traditions were like passed down. Those teachings of stories and everything were still kept alive, and through my uncles and my father. Well, eventually my mother's well, her man, right? Like my dad
Mm-hmm.
was very good friends with my grandfather, and they learned a lot. Like, he learned a lot from him, and kind of passed it down to me and my uncles, and like they were very much practitioners of the land and with spiritual ways, and my uncle was a very like well-renowned healer of Canada, and they
Okay.
actually like anthropologists that from universities would come down and study his ways and study what he did, and he'd show them, and they'd make books about it, and you know what I mean, and documentaries, and he
Wow.
made a few like
That's your
he
uncle,
made a
that
few displays, and
the one that
yeah,
passed
and so
away?
like yeah.
Okay.
So like in Edmonton, I could still go to the museum there and see a
Wow.
display he set up of the traditional way, like how natives looked and how they acted or what they used, tools and everything, and you could still see that today, and it still says it's still set up by my uncle and has his
Okay.
name there and everything.
Yeah,
And
next
yeah,
time we
so like
talk, I want to touch more base on I know I sent you some original questions. I want to touch base on those, but I wanted to kind of first like do this to get to know like a base, like set up a foundation, right? So it's kind of cool that
yeah,
we're going into that.
yeah, and like and throughout the years, like I said, like it's very much paranormal and spiritual things, like ceremony wise, and tales that have happened throughout the years that like I could still talk about and bring up if in future episodes and whatever if you want. But yeah, I figure I just let people know a little bit about my backstory and who I am,
Totally.
and where I come from, kind of deal.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. Well,
How we survived the system.
yeah, dude, that's interesting, man. And your great grandfather was part of that treaty. I'm glad he did that, man. Look at us
Oh yes.
now. There's got to be
Hmm.
some kind of like tie, bro. Some like past life tie, right? Like I just feel like this very heavy connection to my man Assault Rifle over here, as I do with everyone in the community, right? But like, once in a while, you meet a person that is like, you see like yourself. It's just like a reflection. Like it's so cool, man.